welcome to the 60 Plus podcast.
I'm Janet.
And I'm Joe. Did that sound weird?
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we'll have to.
to.
How are you, Janet?
Yes.
The studio is very cold today, Janet.
I'm burr.
I'm layered up.
I can't burr.
You
Can
can't
you
burr?
burr?
No, my lips are too cold to burr.
Are we going to be able to actually speak during this podcast?
We'll find out, won't we? Maybe that's why it sounded weird at the beginning.
Yeah, possibly. We have
Janet.
frozen lips.
Janet,
Yes.
I need $10,000 really quickly.
Why, Joe?
It's an emergency.
Oh, really? What's the emergency?
I'm in jail.
Oh, gosh. All right. Well, I'll wire it to you right away.
Thank you. See what I did there?
That's really good segue.
What are we talking about today, Janet?
Scams.
Scams.
It's a hot topic.
You're an easy mark, by the way.
I know, right? Well, it's kind of scary. Somebody was telling me the other day that now with artificial intelligence and stuff, that they can actually do or mimic the sound of your loved one, and
yeah.
they can call and you actually think it's your grandson or whatever who's like, Nana, I'm in jail. I need you to wire me some money.
I actually had to make a call like that one time from Italy.
Oh, you weren't scamming?
I wasn't scamming. I had to call a friend and say I needed $4,000.
What? What did you do, pray
I-
tell?
All right. I shouldn't tell tales out of school. A travel partner was
Mhm.
pickpocketed for 4,000 euros. So I actually
Wow.
needed like $6,000. 4,000 euros pickpocketed, and we had no cash to pay for our Airbnbs.
Oh, wow.
I phoned a friend and said, I need you to transfer $6,000 into my bank account. And I said, I promise this isn't a scam.
Did he ask you like some question that only you would know the answer to or anything like that?
This was probably close to 10 years ago.
Right. There's probably wasn't as much paranoia
No, but
around it.
I mean, it's similar to what's called the grandparent scam.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I know this sounds like one of those scams. I laid out the whole story. It was very believable, and it was true.
Right.
We were pickpocketed.
And did you pay the money back?
Oh, of course. Yes.
By the way, nice friend.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We needed cash to pay for the Airbnbs, and the only way for me to get the cash then was to go to ATM machines,
Oh, right.
which are limited at the time. They were limited, I think, to 200 or 250
Right.
euros.
A day.
I had to talk to my bank, and they said we can eliminate the limit on the ATM withdrawals, but only for 4 hours.
Oh, so you were running
I
around.
had to run around Rome. Up until that point, it seemed as though we were seeing an ATM machine like on every block.
Right.
No, it took me 2 hours to find an ATM. There's a way to solve this,
Right.
and it's to establish a safe word.
Yeah.
So a similar thing. So talking about scams, you get an unsolicited call,
Right.
and they ask for personal information.
Right.
I think I've mentioned this before, where the pharmacy will call and ask how things are going. But
Mhm.
because of HIPAA, before they can ask me any questions about my interaction with the pharmacy, they need to establish that it's me.
Right.
So they ask for personal information. And I've been in the situation where I'm like, you called me. How do I know you're who you say you are? Give me some information that only I would know. Tell me my address. Tell me something.
Yeah.
And they said, we can't because of HIPAA. And I've suggested this to them before I even did the research for this episode. We should have a safe word.
Mm-hmm.
The safe word could be something that only like a password that
Right.
they know and I know. And that way, when they call me to say, how's it going with your prescriptions? They can say, Ovaltine,
Well, we used to have that actually with
your daughter.
at school. There was a safe word, so somebody couldn't be like, "Oh, I was told I need to pick up, from school today." Whatever. There was like,
Oh, right.
yeah, and that was recommended. But this is a real issue because looking at the statistics for particularly people over 60 who are often targeted, it's growing. But just in 2022. The FBI had 88,000 complaints of fraud from individuals 60 and above,
Mhm.
which resulted in $3.1 billion in losses. That's significant amount of money.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm sure that 2022, it's probably now 3 years later, right?
hmm
Much higher than that.
probably,
Yeah.
probably.
So this is definitely something that we want to be aware of. Have you ever been scammed?
No, I haven't. But there have been some very sophisticated attempts that I've
Mm-hmm.
been like, hmm,
Yeah.
there's something that doesn't. A, a banking scam.
Yep.
Getting an email, it looks like it's coming from the bank. They've spoofed the bank's email
Yep.
address. It's very professionally done. And click here, and you go there, and it looks like the bank's website.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember the details, but there was one little thing that kind of went, something doesn't seem right. There was some
Right.
unusual wording or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I think it just boils down to don't respond to unsolicited stuff, even if it looks legit.
Right. And what you can do is you can use like there's 800 numbers that are given too, like,
Hmm
oh, your computer is locked. Call Microsoft this 800 number. Like,
Yeah.
don't do that.
No.
Go, use a number that you know is like legit and call
Don't use the
Microsoft
number that's in
Word
an
and say,
email that
hey, like call your bank and be like, hey, I just got this, and they'll know, right? So
don't use the phone number
right,
that's in
don't
the
use
email that you
yes.
get, because that's just going to
That's
go right back to the scammers.
exactly.
Back in the day, I did get the Nigerian prince
I've
fax.
gotten that
Have
before
you gotten
too.
that? This
Yeah.
was back in the fax days.
Yeah.
But the Nigerian prince scam was, I don't know how anyone ever fell for that.
I know that's crazy.
But
Also I've recently, I've been getting text scams like from the United States Postal Service, right?
mhm,
Or Amazon even.
Amazon, there's
Um,
another one, your toll transponder, Easy Pass.
yes. The DOT just put out a warning about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a lot of the texts that I get will be identified as spam, and it just goes to a spam, a scam, and it goes to a spam folder. I don't even see it.
Right. But often they get through, and you
They
do
do
have to
sometimes.
just always have a wary eye. And, I always used to say to my daughter, if something doesn't feel right, it's not.
Right.
So don't be like, oh, I'm sure, this is fine. Like take the time to check it out. But, there's some pretty sophisticated and prevalent scams for our age group,
hmm
right? One is government impersonation, agencies like the IRS, Medicare,
Medicare, Social
um,
Security.
claiming there's issues with your accounts
hmm
and then request personal information. So again, go back to the source and say, I've been contacted. Why am I being contacted? What's going on? They'll know this is not copacetic.
Okay. Tech support. I've actually had this one a number of times where
Mm-hmm.
you get a call. They say they're calling from Microsoft or
Mm-hmm.
Dell or some, and your computer's been compromised.
Yeah.
And they're very, very good at trying to get you to give control of your computer
Right.
to them. If someone calls and says they're from tech support, they're not.
Right.
No tech support outfit is going to call you and identify a problem on your computer.
Yeah. And we actually get emails sometimes, even through our work.
Really?
Then tech support will say, hey, don't respond to this, blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
This is a scam. It's like, oh my gosh, even gets inside whatever their firewall.
Sure.
So yeah, tech related stuff is definitely prevalent these days. Robocall and phone scams,
Mhm.
fraudsters that will impersonate, as we said, family members in distress or businesses that you do business with. Those I think are probably unless you have a landline, which a lot of people don't
Oh,
anymore.
no, I get them on my cell phone.
Do you?
Yep.
Yeah.
I get those calls.
Yeah.
Pretending to be another business or some kind of organization that I have done. And a lot of times they'll say it's Amazon because they know a lot of people are Amazon
Yeah.
or they're Amazon customers. Your package is misdirected. Go to this website and correct it. No, Amazon doesn't do that.
No.
You're getting a text from Amazon saying your package has been misdirected. Your payment didn't clear.
Right. What?
No, sorry. But they sound legitimate. They look legitimate. And like you said, AI is going to make it even harder to identify these things as
As it
as
gets more and more refined.
exactly.
I even had a situation the other day where I clicked on, I think I was trying to go to Amazon actually,
hmm
and I clicked on a sponsored ad rather than just going right to at the Amazon website. And up came that box. Oh, your computer has been compromised. Call this 1-800 number, blah, 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 Microsoft. So I guess I called Apple directly. And they were like, no, do not call that 800 number.
Right.
No, here's what you need to do. And they
Yep.
just walked me through like how to get rid of it because it wouldn't go away.
Oh, sometimes, yeah.
The guy tried to shut down
Mhm.
right away and it came popping right back up again.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh no, because I've had friends who have had, their computer basically commandeered and
Yes.
then they had to pay like Bitcoin,
Hmm.
but then they don't get it back.
No,
So they pay the Bitcoin and they don't get it back.
they don't get their computer back.
They don't get it back.
No, because they just locked it and they don't know how to unlock it.
Yeah.
These ransomware kind of things are pretty sophisticated.
Yeah.
I have a friend that's pretty senior in a company, and their company servers were locked up. They had to pay the ransomware,
Mm-hmm.
but it was very, very businesslike. They had to pay in Bitcoin,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a tech support number that they could call. Had to. No, really.
Nice. Oh, our customer service is highly rated while we take your money.
Yep.
Yeah, nice. There were nice scammers.
Well, it's very interesting because these kinds of scammers, the ransomware scammers, it's a business for them. And if they don't have good customer service, it'll get around that, okay, you pay your ransomware and you don't get your computer back. No, they want to give it back.
Yeah, yeah. This one really makes me sad.
What's that?
Charity scams.
I know.
Fraudsters will solicit donations for fake charities, especially after natural disasters, which we're having a lot lately.
Sure. Yep.
That's just so sad right there.
People of high moral character that are
No, I
doing
know.
the scams.
I know. Romance scams. That's another sad one.
That's a sad one. That's a very sad one because it can even, I mean, you can go to a dating site and you think you're messaging with somebody,
And you're having this like long distance relationship.
and it's
that's
really some
developing,
guy in Russia.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that.
They're on a legitimate dating site, for instance, or they're
Right.
on Facebook, and they think, well, how
They must be
It must be-
vetted.
it
Everybody
must be
must be
true.
vetted.
no.
No.
And they're very good at creating urgency.
I'd love to come see you.
Yes.
But could you send me $10,000 so
It might not be 10,000, but right. Yes. Oh, yeah.
I think I'm in love with you. I would like $10,000 to come see you.
I did see something that says do a reverse image scan. If you've got a picture of somebody,
Mm-hmm.
do a reverse image scan. And there was a woman who had been online chatting with a guy, and a very attractive guy. And I think her granddaughter helped her do a reverse image scan. And it ended up being an image of some plastic surgeon in Spain that they had just stolen the guy's picture and were using that as the
So how do
the
you do
ding-
a reverse image scan?
You can do a Google reverse image scan where you capture a picture and have Google search for it, and it will tell you who
Pop
that
up.
is. Mhm.
That's very interesting. I like it. Yeah. What other scams do we have?
It seems like it's never ending.
Right. Investment scams like that happened actually too.
What?
Somebody I know recently. An investment scam.
Did they get scammed?
Yeah. They were asked to invest in some, oh my God, it's going to be great type of thing. And they just,
got an unsolicited request to invest in this thing.
no, they were posing as a valid investment company.
Okay.
And, it all seemed copacetic, right? And they were giving them their money, waiting for their return
And it didn't
on
come.
investment.
No.
And like,
Okay.
money gone. Money gone.
The idea is don't click on something that is unsolicited.
Right.
Verify everything.
Yep. Yeah, we have a whole list of things that you can do too.
Not on this list. I'll give my advice.
Right.
Don't be afraid of being rude.
Yeah.
No,
I know, because we all want to be polite.
Right.
Right.
I mentioned the pharmacy. The pharmacy calls me, make sure everything's going well, and
Mhm.
they want personal information.
Right.
I'll say, it's not your fault, but I can't give you personal information. You reached out to me.
Right.
Everything I know is don't give personal
Right.
information to
Yeah.
unsolicited
Right.
call or
As a matter of fact, they say the most common are telemarketing fraud, which are unsolicited calls offering too good to be true deals or requesting personal information, to your
hmm
point, phishing scams, emails or messages impersonating legitimate organizations to steal personal data,
hmm
and grandparent scams, calls from individuals pretending to be grandchildren in urgent need of money.
Sure. Yep.
So those are the most common among all of the ones that the FBI has
hmm
tracked over time for our age group. Those are the ones to, I guess, pay the most. Well, you got to pay attention to all of them, but
You do. You do.
yeah, those are the ones
Uh,
you're probably going to hear about.
one of the ways to identify something as a scam is if someone's asking for payment of some sort. I don't want to say money, but payment.
Right.
If they're asking for you to go and buy gift cards or they're asking for cryptocurrency, just assume that it's a scam.
Yeah.
And it could be a very valid looking email or very professional sounding phone call. If they're asking for some form of payment that's not
Mm-hmm.
like your credit card number, which you shouldn't be giving to anyone that's
Right.
unsolicited,
Right.
it's a scam.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's things that you can do to try to limit the exposure to these things and, safeguard yourself. One of those is to limit sharing about your personal details,
hmm
right, over the phone or online, like you say, but also securing your documents, making sure passwords in a safe place. And
Use a password manager. I
yeah.
used to be very resistant to this.
Mm-hmm.
And in the last year or two, I've started using a password manager. It works much better.
Yeah.
The other thing is on any accounts that could lead to any of your finances, use two-factor authentication. It's a pain in the neck. It's a
Absolutely.
pain in the neck,
Every time.
but
Yeah.
it's
Don't
well worth it.
bypass that. And change your passwords often, which I'm
Mm,
not as good
yeah.
as I could be. But I also have mine written down. Like I don't store my passwords in my computer.
No, but a password manager wouldn't store them in your computer.
Right.
Well, I don't want to tell which password manager I use, but it works quite well, and it's much easier than it used to be.
Okay.
Password managers in the past required you to have a master password to unlock all your other passwords.
Right.
But if you forgot that master
Oops.
password, you were kind of
Oopsie.
out of luck.
Yeah.
So you write them down. You just leave them
have
like on
them
a sticky note on the fridge.
No, I have them in a safe place. And as
Okay.
long as I can remember where they are,
Okay.
I'm good.
As long as they're not under a piece of paper in a drawer.
Yeah.
Okay. Something that surprised me a little bit, online quizzes. Don't fill out online quizzes. So in like Facebook or
Oh,
something like that,
yeah.
it's a way that scammers will harvest personal information from
Yeah.
you. And it may seem very innocuous, but if you do it more than once, you do it once and then somewhere else you're doing something else, they can kind of correlate it and lead it back to you.
Mm.
So don't do those online quizzes on
Well, I
Facebook.
think just having like anything on social media these days is just, frightening how much they know about you if you're putting all your personal everything
Mhm.
on Facebook.
So don't take a
There's not
picture
as
of
much
that
data
piece of
protection.
paper that you have all your passwords
Right.
on.
And
And
even like, cookies, when you go to a website and they're like, do you want to accept cookies? There's a perception that if you don't accept cookies, you're not going to get the data and the information that you need. And that's just not true.
okay.
So don't accept cookies.
Okay.
Because that attaches to so there are definitely technological protections, right? Definitely use security software and then regularly update antivirus or anti-malware on your computers and mobile devices.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Enable multi-factor authentication, like you said,
Yep.
right? And you want to stay informed, right? If you've got IT, if you're still working, whatever, what's the latest and greatest in terms of protection. And certainly the amount of data that you put on social media or send through.
Here's something that I've seen on social media a number of times. It'll be a friend of mine
Mm-hmm.
whose kid will, for instance, just get their driver's license. And they're standing there holding up their driver's license, which has their name, their address, their birthday. And I'm like, blur that out, block it out.
Right, yeah.
Because that's all personal information that scammers can use to create a false identity.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's another one. False identities can be a big problem. I know of one situation years ago, actually, with a false identity. Someone sold someone's house.
What?
Yeah, with a false identity, they sold someone's house and fake deeds. Yep, they
What?
it's
So what happened?
it's a mess. It's a mess. I don't know how you undo it.
Oh my gosh.
Hmm. Yeah,
Like, sorry, your house was sold out from under you.
when the movers show up to move someone in who really like thought
Thinks
they
they
bought
have
a
a
house.
house. Yeah.
No. So even taking a picture of your car with the license plate, just don't include that kind of information.
Yeah.
There's some information that it doesn't matter, right? Your name and address, those are easy to get.
It's public
Yeah,
information.
it's pretty much.
But it also bothers me, like, there's so many databases that ask for your social security number. I'm like, you don't need my social
Mhm.
security number. I leave it blank.
Mm,
And then nobody's ever challenged me about it. I'm like,
Really?
why do you need my social security number?
yep.
This is healthcare. You don't need my social security number. So you have to really kind of push back.
Just know that Medicare, Social Security are never going to contact you directly and ask for personal information.
Right. Yeah.
You can sign up for email like newsletters from Social Security and Medicare. You get emails from them or maybe text, but they're not asking for personal information. If they are, they're not who they say they are.
Right. Right.
There's a couple of organizations that can help
Yes.
or where you can even just report some fraud.
Yes.
So one is the National Elder Fraud Hotline,
I did not know this existed.
and their phone number is 833 fraud FRAUD 11. So that's 833 fraud 11. And the Federal Trade Commission has a way to report scams. It's reportfraud.ftc.gov.
Right.
Those are
Right.
good sources.
And that's important because, not only to, they might help you navigate through it, but you're also potentially helping somebody else who could fall victim to that scam.
I think that a lot of people will say, oh, I know all this. I'm never going to be scammed. But the level of deviousness and the level of professionalism around some of these scams is so good
Right.
that you can be tripped up by it.
Right.
So don't give out personal information to people that contact you by phone or email. If you suspect that it might be a legitimate organization, contact them through their normal contact information, not the contact information that the email is giving you.
Right.
I'm getting a lot of direct mail and emails right now about Medicare.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at that age. And it's surprising to me how far and wide those emails and direct mails are coming from. One person Medicare kind of coaching shops. I don't know who these people are.
Right.
They're going right in the bin.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah. So the other thing they say is, take your time, right?
Mhm.
Like scammers will often give you sort of this sense of urgency, right?
Mhm.
We need this now, whatever. Take the time to verify, take the time to be suspicious and follow it up and don't just jump in.
Right. You're right. Okay. It's not a pleasant thing to talk about, but
No, it's not, but it's important.
we're in that demographic that we're targeted because we can be viewed as less technologically savvy.
Right.
We have grandkids, some of us,
Right.
uh,
Right. In
and
your home and you're
and as a demographic, I think there's deeper pockets there for the scammers to get into.
mm-hmm. Yes.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Have we covered this?
I think we have. That was fun.
Was it?
Woo!
All right. As always, check out the show notes in the Spotify app.
Yep. And don't get scammed.
Don't get scammed. And that's it for this episode of the 60 Plus Podcast. I'm Joe.
I'm Janet. Bye.